Attention gamers. If you lock in this banging internet GF load into the practice tool, give yourself a Nancy Pelosi amount of hard-earned cash, age yourself like a young Benjamin Button on opposite day, and then find the 2 buttons that stack your shiz. You can go on a quick shopping spree as if you are planning a party with the theme of ability haste, and by doing this you will realize that a totally viable build for this bombshell gets your ult down to a 15 seconds cooldown. Cross-reference this with some good old lore about the midget wizards in your games. You will see that a group of them is born out of the Nexus's anus every 30 seconds, which means you can ult literally every wave and still have enough nut busts in the tank for some charity work. You see, once upon a time in a land where Riot cared enough about its casual player base to release winter-themed maps and other features that kept the game from feeling like a stale jizz-covered cracker, they had just plain Jane vanilla cooldown reduction, which was capped at 40%, with the mentality that if you wanted to fire a Lux E and then immediately have it ready to fire again, you can go play IRF mode. But pretty privilege took over, and I guess Uncle Rito is just a perv. And I know you are thinking, he didn't just accuse Riot of making Lux OP, did he? But yes, he did. So with any rune page, as long as you are covering these 2 big boys, you'll get to ult more often than a Reddit moderator jerks himself off. And I'm sure this can get even worse if you are willing to sacrifice some damage for useless items on Lux. But for now we will stick to this and play her arguably ugliest skin, because supposedly it's pay to win and has even been banned in pro play, which I know sucks, but the best part is there's a way to get it for free. You see, if you are using any of these League of Legends helper apps, then you're already running over Wolf's gaming platform on your PC, which means you can open buff and start earning points while playing League of Legends or other games that you actually like. It's free, but I wouldn't promote something I don't use myself. As you can see, daily buff coinage earnings on my account dating back over years. I then use my points to buy in-game goodies or IRL swag, or to just do some good for the world while I'm playing my games. And if you are wondering how they make money, it's from advertisers like Kamal Tohir paying for ad space, or you can upgrade to premium to get more points, exclusive rewards, and no political propaganda on the banner. But I'm cheap and I don't mind, as I just game like a true gamer with it running so I can collect my points and voila. So check out my link in the description to get buff for free, and soon you'll be able to unlock pay to win skins for free as well. Alright, attempt numero uno. I'm against the chick who has more balls constantly orbiting her face than a young Riley Reid, and my game plan is to poke her down with some weavy boy combos early. But despite her getting bullied worse than I did in grade school for having a lisp, I get an early unexpected visit from the neighbor's dog, so I put him in a cage and quietly laugh my ass off at the Syndra trying to impress him and then shoo him away. That said, I'm not a fan of some rabies-ridden beast showing up in my lawn without warning, so I ping Kindred and say, hey, let's do our best immigrant in Ohio impression and get fed off this dog, and he obliges. I rotate faster than the ball gargling whore, and even though the dog tries to get flashy, he ends up getting killed unless you ask CNN's fact checker, as they would say he's still alive. This leaves just levitating Laura, who is all like, whoa, I wanted to pet that dog, and I guess Kindred could give 2 shits about helping me out, so I'm left to my own to deal with her. And luckily this chick is so dumb she could hide her own Easter eggs, so it's not a problem, even though some minion tries to make me look stupid at the end. But in today's day and age on the internet, if I get caught abusing the stupid kid too much, I'll get cancelled for racism or some shit by some white privileged high school girl who tweets too much, and that is precisely the reason why I decided to diversify my homicide targets. I come in for a gank, but Kindred and Ezreal are having one of those who's a more useless bag of shit contests, and they are both tied for first. Plus Nautilus, the king of buggy hitboxes, manages to dodge my laser like a criminal in a museum theft movie as my gank ends in a 1 for 2. That said, I realize I'm a lucky lady because I can come home after a tough day at the office and know there will be some naive, blind, dumb bimbo so surprised to see me. Not to mention my tower hit a world record for longest laser, which helps expedite the euthanization. I now have all the components of my first item, plus I'm 7 years old, which on a champ like Lux, who could be played by a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal, means if I manage to land a single Q, we can all sing sayonara to the Syndra. Then I decide to do a bit more werewolf hunting, primarily because all the girls had crushes on Taylor Lautner and his stupid abs in Twilight, and I wanted to prove I'm better than that, sometimes. But at least this dog would pick me over anyone, which isn't saying much, as the wind shitter is clearly dealing with his own internal struggles and I have to fend for myself again. And I'm the kinda chick to get my nut and get out, you know, a little dine and dash. Once I'm feeling fed, I'm hitting the fountain, but I feel guilty knowing any Yasuo sibling won't survive without someone else saving them, so eventually I'm able to wrangle the metal welded warrior and hit him with a spare 600 lumens. Attention riot, if you are watching this with just one item and rank 1 ult, the cooldown is now just 34 seconds, which is almost every minion wave, so you can bet your unbalanceable bottom dollar that I will be using it on every wave to get that shit out of my face, which eventually forces the idiot out of my lane. When the tower announces her pending arrival, I make sure she has a warm welcome back with a Tesla orgy amount of electricity, and this particular Syndra is so dense it makes sense why she has her own gravitational pull. And the beauty of having a 1200 foot long titty laser so often is that no cannon minion will get to die in peace passively without coughing up some cash when he goes out, and clearly the mid gap has the entire enemy team more tilted than the Leaning Tower of Pisa, as I'm not sure what this ginger mutt's plan was, but I'm kinda pissed because people in the comments are gonna be like, bro, what plastic, what incest elo do you film these in? And even I was like, dog, your ineptitude is literally making this shit look staged. But as I'm busy calling him an idiot, the Syndra gets jealous and seemingly just right clicks on me, trying to prove so hard that no one shall dethrone her as the top degenerate. And this is the content creator's dilemma in this piss pit snowball game, because if you stomp too hard everyone just loses the will to live, so I do try my best by literally offering a shutdown to proverbially talk them off the tilt ledge, but this one was clearly unsalvageable, and so while I did prove how OP Lux is against an enemy playing League on a DDR dance pad, I didn't get anywhere close to my 12 seconds ult cooldown. I decide to try it in round 2 as APC Luxana against Tumble Tits and drumroll please Chinese firecracker Nautilus, who just loves to press his buttons. This was cool and all until I got abandoned early in life like a ginger stepchild, and the second the dog water chug state champs discovered my loneliness, they were on me like Jack Doherty was on his phone while driving on the highway, but unlike him I realize I was lucky to walk out of that alive. Eventually the sewer rat returned, but like a flat insecure girl on Mardi Gras there was no way I was flashing anyone, which was bad news bears for this blonde, so let's just say thank you Jesus Christ that League skip to my Lou was in the area, as her parkour immediately scared off Gosu, which let me focus on tying up Mulan's super yacht so that we could take him down. The boys are all in town to celebrate our recent homicide, but someone messed up the stripper order saying they thought we said scorpion, and I'm thinking leave it to a solo queue player to think this bachelor party wants a 3-tailed venomous bug, so now we had to deal with that too. It's worth noting their support was definitely a Nautilus main, because he knew he could just walk past the lane and W key at people in the dumbest possible way, and that it would work based off of prior experience, so naturally I had to burn a summoner spell, but like this blonde's OnlyFans subscription income every time she leaks a flash for free, the Nautilus goes down. Tumble Tits tries to salvage the situation but doing a bunch of somersaults around us as if I'm gonna be like, aw that's so cute, I guess I'll let you live, but I already over tipped on my Taco Bell DoorDash order today, so I was not in the generous mood anymore. All of a sudden everyone wants to pretend they are challenger players and they give a shit about objectives, even though you know just as well as I do, yes you Michael, that we all just want to fight, so I toss the concept of light at a few of them, which is enough to kill off the fat diabetic ginger, but like my wife's sex life the rest of this fight is very unsatisfactory. That is until Tweedledee and Tweedledum think I'm just going to let them win this game of tag, so when it's my turn I hit the Shanghai scroll shithead with the old bind and get bitch slapped combo. That said, despite our success together my support had fully abandoned me again, but this makes this Lux build the perfect APC because I could hold the wave for eternity. As you can see I can fully clear this wave without ever having to step up, and when the next wave approaches you can see they are all rocking half chubs thinking about the epic tower dive. But my ult is already off cooldown, so they won't be getting that opportunity, and for anyone who has played this game in low elo you know it's infuriating for the whole team that can't capitalize on a 2v1 and eventually they piss off, so I continue the same approach but this time on the offensive. At this point everyone is triggered in chat, but it's still a close game and I'd like to show that with just 2 items and rank 2 ult the titty lasers can come out to play multiple times a fight, as you see quite the uncoordinated shitting festival where I get caught like 6 times before I stabilized enough to whip out the first light beam. Unfortunately my flow got interrupted by some drunk Ozempic abuser forcing me to peel off. Eventually I regroup with the other Goonies, but the fight is far from over. 2 chains burnt a summoner spell to be here, and like any silver player that means he will not be backing off until someone dies, even if it's him, so I prepare to tie them up knowing they will squirm like crazy when they find out my ult is already off cooldown again, until it's just Silas looking like a Dundee award. We wait for him to thaw out and then I politely decline his offer to chain bang me into oblivion. It's now time for this APC to go full blown ARAM, and the plan is to ult every wave from here on out to keep up the pressure. This lets me be myself, which is an extrovert who always wants to be the center of the party, and considering I can erase this vein from my sight at 3 times her range, I'd say my presence is felt. Not to mention my cues are practically aim-botted when I'm in the zone on this booby streamer, to the point where I'm just blindly firing binds out which are scaring the literal ults out of their Silas, and no amount of popping a rift clit is going to save him from Twitch's aids. It's worth noting this build doesn't have quite as much damage, which can hurt against tanks, but if you pay attention to the cooldowns here, you can see my bind was almost off cooldown by the time his dead corpse would have gotten out of the first one I hit. I can both help keep waves pushed with an ult while also contributing to slaying the toothy wiener worm in river, and by the time I get back to lane after taking the objective, I already have another ult ready for the next wave. I'm now at 5 items, which means 14 seconds ult cooldown, and this means I can be looser than the town whore when it comes to when I use it, so at every occasion I quickly become known as the chick who brings an ult to every party. And while some people may think this is a problem, it sure as shit isn't raising eyebrows at Riot like it's raising other things on their body when they look at this broken blonde bombshell. And that's so even though I didn't get to finish my final item, you get the point, so go try this in your games and wear out that R key on your keyboards. Ravioli outie.